showing up tonight and supporting your local Democratic Party. It's one of the most important things that we can do going forward into, not just the end of this year, but into 2012 and into the new campaign that's coming up. So continue to support not only your local county Democratic parties, but also national and statewide party as well. We all need your help. But I want to thank Gretchen for inviting me to come down. It's been a while since I've been down here to Valdosta, but love coming down here every time. Titletown, USA. So love coming down here and glad to be back for this barbecue. But when Gretchen asked me to come down, she told me that the theme for the barbecue would be democratic values. And that's something that struck me as very appropriate, not only just for this dinner, for this evening and for what is coming up, but for the country, because the president had talked a lot about this in a few areas, and it's something that we should all be ready to jump at, ready to talk about when we're out there talking on the phones, talking to our friends and our neighbors. We should all be ready to talk about these democratic values. But I also want to say that I'm pleased to be on a program with two of our very best, most hardworking Democratic leaders of the Democratic Party and the Democratic cause here in the state of Georgia, with House Minority Leader Stacey Abrams and State Party Chair Mike Burlon. To be mentioned in the same sentence as these two great leaders of the state is an honor for me, and I'm glad that we're all able to hear from them tonight. I look forward to working with both of them on new and innovative ways that we can make sure that we turn Georgia blue in 2012, just like I hope you all want to turn Lowndes County and all the counties that you're from blue as well. But I also want to talk a little bit about the democratic values and what they mean to Organizing for America, which is kind of here representing three different organizations. Organizing for America, which is a project of the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic National Committee itself, and also the Obama for America 2012 re-election campaign. So those are, I want to kind of talk about these values and the way that we do it. And the president, like I said, did a really great job of laying these values out. He did a fantastic job of this in his State of the Union speech. These are the things that we need to pay attention to over the next year and a half as we start the campaign up and as we start to talk to people. And these were one, we need to innovate. We need to innovate because America needs to create the jobs and the industries of the future. And the best way for us to do this is to invest in the creativity and the imagination of the American people. We need to build. We need to build a 21st century infrastructure to help American businesses win the future by selling American goods, products, and ideas all across the world. We need to reform. Winning the future means reforming government so that it's leaner, transparent, and more ready to govern in the 21st century. We need to also take responsibility, and it's something that we're talking a lot about now with the negotiations around the debt ceiling, which is we need to guarantee that the future is not built on a pile of debt. We need to guarantee that we have a shared responsibility to make difficult cuts so that there's room for investments to speed economic growth. These are the values that we'll be talking about, not just now, but as we move forward into 2012 during the campaign and through the end of this presidency, which hopefully is only going to be 6 years, the next 6 years that we have with him. But it's also not just enough to say that this is what we're going to do going forward. These are the things that we want to see. These are the things, but we also have to look back. What have we done? And how what we have done to this point, how does that fit into these democratic values that we're talking about tonight? Well, Democrats are definitely committed to making sure that our children and citizens receive not only the education that they need, but the education that they want. And we've done this through passing the Student Aid and Financial Responsibility Act. It increases all federal Pell Grants, loans, and investments, and makes investments in community colleges, historically black colleges and universities, and other minority-serving institutions. It also caps student loan payments and keeping level with grads' incomes. We've also shown a commitment to improving the lives of everyday Americans by providing middle-class tax cuts, creating jobs, and making it easier for people to pay their monthly bills. With the tax cuts, we extended those critical tax cuts for middle-class families to help those families meet the ends. We passed credit card reform, which will prevent credit card companies from rising your bill for no good reason, or rising your interest rates for no good reason. We also passed the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, which means equal pay for equal work. We passed the Recovery Act, and a lot of people have said the Recovery Act does this and does that. Well, the fact is that it created or saved 3.3 million jobs across the country, 95,000 here in Georgia. It boosted the economy and provided tax credits to 95% of working families. 3.398 million here in the state of Georgia families received a tax cut because of this, because of the Recovery Act. And lastly, Wall Street reform eliminated predatory practices by lenders and ended the era of taxpayer-funded bailouts for Wall Street banks.